Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are well. Today's learning is dedicated in memory of Mendel Ben Zelika Cohen and Meir Ben Tzvi, as well as follows: Leah Bas Feivel, Tzivi Bas Mordechai, Avram Ben David Slavin, Shlomo Ben Yisrael Morris, Eliezer Shalom Ben Avram Shmuel Beres, Zipporah Fegel Bas Reuven Baruch, Shalom Ben Eli, Ben Bas Feivel from Shoshana Bas Yaakov Shmuel, Sarah Malka Bas Binyamin, Yirmiyahu Yechia Ben Achav Moshe Eliezer. Wish each and every one, their respective families, long life and only simchas. So today we move on to the next chapter in our book of the ways of tzaddikim, the character traits which make or break a human being. We started by speaking, hold on, let me just take that off, sorry. We started by speaking about the character trait of pride, right, of haughtiness. And we said that it was something abhorrent, something we have to run away from. Straight afterwards, the second gate is the gate of humility. Now, humility, of course, is something that is something good. Good afternoon, Paul, Peter, and Rachel. So far, those that have greeted me. So, if we think about it, who are the examples of humble people in the Torah? So the two examples that spring to mind are Moshe and Abraham. Abraham declares himself, Va'anochi afar ve'efer, I am dust and ashes, right? That is a pretty humble statement, if ever there was one. Dust and ashes are nothing, right? When you destroy something, the only remains are dust and ashes. And yet we are told that Moshe was the humblest of all human beings that ever walked this planet. Why? What could be more humble than dust and ashes? The Torah tells us that Moshe said, he says, and I am nothing, right? What am I, right? V'anachnu ma, right? He says, what am I? I'm nothing, right? However little dust and ashes is, nonetheless, it is still something, okay? Whereas Moshe was saying that he was absolutely nothing. Now, what is astounding about the statement that Moshe was saying about himself that he was nothing was bearing in mind that he was the greatest person to ever have walked the face of this planet. And Moshe knew who he was. Moshe knew he'd spoken to God, taken the Jewish people out of Egypt, was the messenger of God and everything else, So why is it that Moshe could possibly make that statement that he was nothing? And the answer is that usually the way it works is that as a person moves towards God, one has a greater appreciation of what God is, and the fact that once we know it is to some degree what God is, then we know how small we are, right? The more we know, the more we realize how lacking we are, okay? So therefore, Moshe, as he came closer to God, he had a greater humility and recognition, despite all his achievements and accomplishments, that he was still, very, very small in relation to God. Now, so humility is a noble trait and a good quality, the opposite of pride. Everyone agree? One who possesses this trait has already spared his soul many kinds of evils, and one who has attained this honored state is performing a mitzvah and receives reward to the extent of his humility. Okay, so we are meant to be a humble nation. We are meant to show humility despite our accomplishments. Okay, humility, he says, is the root of divine service. A small deed of the humble man is 1,000 times more acceptable to Hashem than a great deed of the proud man. Okay, so therefore we are meant to attribute our successes, our accomplishments, not that it's all about us, but actually it's because of God. Because we can have the will to achieve and we can give it our all, but whether we do or don't succeed is not in our hands. Okay, let's move on a bit. Hello, Harry, good afternoon, and to Estelle. Okay, and what is humility? So this is the crucial part. It is self-effacement and lowliness of spirit, and regarding oneself as nothing. No, they tell the joke. Now that Harry's on, we can tell the joke about the man that comes into shul and he goes to stand by the bimmer and he says, Ich bin a garnished. I'm a nothing. The next man comes up, stands next to him. He's contemplating and thinking in deep thoughts, and all of a sudden he says, Ich bin a garnished. And then a third man comes up and he says, Ich bin a garnished. I'm also a nothing. So the second one turns to the first and says, he's only just arrived in this community and he already thinks he's a nothing. So humility, it's self-effacement, is what it's all about. Okay, to recognize who we are and to recognize what we are not. Okay, the root of humility, and this is critical, is one's thinking of himself when he is yet calm and tranquil and healthy and rich, that the blessed one has given him good of which he is not worthy. We are owed absolutely nothing, zilcho, in this world. Okay, God doesn't have to do anything for us. Okay, no one owes you anything in this world. We're so quick to complain and to moan and to bemoan our fate on what's going on. Who owes you anything? Right? Think about it. He must reflect upon the greatness of the Almighty and exaltations of his glory and think, what am I? Am I not an extremely lowly creature in a lowly, ephemeral world? And all of the good things I can do are nothing but a drop in the ocean relative to what I ought to do. And he must do all for the sake of heaven, not for the sake of honor, not to flatter any man or for any personal pleasure, but all for his great name. This is the root of humility. But if one humbles himself before the Almighty, then he or one of his organs is ailing, or when his children or loved ones die, or when he falls from his wealth or his greatness, or when he grows old, the truth is that humility and lowliness are always acceptable, but he has not arrived at true humility in this way. Friends, if we think about it, if we make ourselves, it's all about us, right? Then we really aren't necessary, right? We're not an essential element to this world. But if it is that God sees that we are bringing out his honor in this world, then we are an extension, as it were, of him. The godliness is being spread throughout the world, and therefore we make ourselves and every action that we do indispensable and essential to the cosmic camera that's rolling. Okay, so it's a very, very important concept. Okay, the critical point that we are going to discuss next time is the difference between humility and self-esteem. Remind me to start off next time we meet, which will be tomorrow, please God, about that, the difference between humility and self-esteem. Humility does not mean that you make yourself into a nothing. Okay, we'll see the difference between humility and self-esteem. Anyone who wants to suggest an answer before then, if you can't wait, answers on a postcard or in the comment box, and I will look at them after this. Okay, but we will continue learning about humility. We're journeying through the character traits, becoming more refined, more sensitive, considerate people over the course of the next few months. And very quickly, we will see that we'll be able to finish this beautiful book and become, please God, as a result, as a consequence, all the better for it. Bigger and greater people. So, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even when I walk in the valley of darkness, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for the length of days. We move on to the memorial prayer. For those of you that couldn't make it yesterday, I'm talking about the quiz. We had a 12:15 Zoom quiz. It was phenomenal. Carol Walden was the winner. So we encourage everyone to come next week after this at 12:15 on Zoom. It's brilliant. Okay, we carry on. Adon Elamim Zacho Es Nishmois. Mendel Ben Zelika Cohen, Meir Ben Tzvi, Leah Bas Bible, Tzvi Bas Mordechai, Avram Ben David Slavin, Shalom Ben Yisrael Morris, Eliezer, Shalom Ben Avram Shmuel Beres, Tzipora Fekevas, Ruben Baruch, Shalom Ben Eli Ben Bas Bible, Yom Yom Yechiel, Ben Chavim Moshe Eliezer, Moshe Shana Bas Yaakov Shmuel, Sarah Mocha Bas Bin Yomin, Shalom Chuli Olamam, Vegan Ein and Teim Menuchal Sam Lachim Balarachamim, Yasirein Beseisa Kanafah Olamim, Veitzovas Chais Nishasam Adonai Nachlasam. Yanuchu b'shlomish kavam v'namar amen. Okay, so we wish long life to all those that are or would be saying Kaddish. We conclude with our Refuah Shlema prayer. We have in mind, of course, Diane Aaron Troy is in a critical condition, and as also Lord Sachs, Rav Lord Sachs, who is having treatment. Misha Berach Havaseinu Abraham Yisrael Yaakov Moshe Aaron David Shlomo V'Yivarech Ra Pesach Chaylim. Babu Shana Mispalim Babu Ram Bizchas HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachem Aleihem Lachem Alefosam Yishlach Lem Fushlim and Shemaim Lachorim Beso Shachol Yisrael Rufus and Nefesh Putzakuf Hashabag Azman Karev and Amar Amen. Wishing everyone well. Keep safe. Keep well. It is raining. I was told by Estelle yesterday there would be a storm. So far, I guess this is the calm before the storm. Lovely to see you. Keep well. And remember, tomorrow, not only do we have our lunchtime get-together, but at 8, I think it's 8:15 or 8 o'clock or 8:15 in the evening on Facebook, we will be having a live interview with the Mayor of Barnet, exclusive to Woodside Park. Gila and I look forward to being in conversation with Mayor Caroline Stock. See you then. Take care. Bye.